I don't know what I'm... There's some junk around here. I don't know if this thing's going to be recording. I hope it stays on. I don't even know if I want to be talking that much. Or should I be talking? Should I be talking to anything right now? I don't think so, actually. If I was going to be serious. We shouldn't be doing any of this because right now this isn't probably going to be a spiritual based one. It's going to be me talking, I guess. Well, I could probably go into it a little bit, but about our previous, our past meetings or so. Integrity, loyalty, maintaining loyalty, being loyal, right? It's like our Bible reading was on Daniel, the book of Daniel, right? Yeah. This past Thursday we had a Bible reading. Our Bible reading was mainly about the book of Daniel, his integrity. Let's see, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, whenever those three were faced with a choice, when they were faced with the choice of to bow down and worship a golden statue, or, King Nebuchadnezzar, wanted them to bow down to a golden statue. They chose not to. So if any of you know the book of Daniel, and know aspects of it, at least know basics, you know about those, those accounts. And then Daniel himself maintaining his integrity by praying to God, and then whenever he was thrown in the lion's pit, the angel shut the mouth of the lion and stuff like that. And again, they weren't really assuming. And I'm just kind of spouting off. Like, they weren't really assuming that God was going to save them, I think they even mentioned that. I don't know how they worded it specifically, but I know they had said, whether or not our God chooses to save us, we still only worship Him. We will not bow down to your false gods. We will not do anything that breaks or damages our relationship with God. And with just those two accounts, just with Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego and Daniel, you can kind of get an idea as to what it really does take to follow God. His righteous standards, and it gives you some inspiration too. Quite a bit of inspiration. I mean, I know I'm inspired by the witnesses every day, or maybe not every day, but every time I go in there, listening, hearing talks, just in general being around that group of people. It's hard to explain, but there isn't really a feeling quite like it, especially when you're fully engaged in it. I'm not as fully engaged in this as I would like to be. I'm somebody that does suffer from having attention disorders. I do have attention disorders, right? I have a hard time paying attention to things and keeping the focus. So it's with technology and all that stuff, it's making it that much harder. I can do it when I'm engaged. I can keep my mind on something. I can keep my mind on track. And it's It's a beautiful thing when that happens, because then I'm actually taking in information. That's another thing I want to talk about too, is just learning. I'm looking up some videos. I'll probably have to go look up those videos again at some point. Maybe I should start to do that more often, is to, you know how you might reread something in order to get it in there? Well, it's like rewatch a video. I'm somebody that has a hard time doing that kind of stuff a lot too. It's like rewatching, re-listening. If I have something recorded, or if I'm listening to something, just like you would listen to a song, you might like a song, you listen to it over and over again until it's basically embedded in your mind, if you really like it that much. Music does something a little bit different to you. It can open up so many different doors in your brain and neural pathways and stuff like that. It just kind of like, it excites you, and everything's going off. Like, it stimulates you in a certain way. Like music, it's hard to really get that same effect with just spiritual practices, unless it's maybe music related. Music is definitely something, I don't know, like if you could actually use music or aspects of that to somehow stimulate you and stimulate you in a different way, and stimulate learning processes and stuff like that. I don't know, that'd be cool. But I'm thinking there's other ways. You just gotta practice them. You gotta continue to exercise. You gotta exercise your brain a little bit in different ways. I think that goes without saying when it comes to trying to do something different. You're gonna have to change your routine, which is something that a lot of people find hard to do. Changing your routine, changing up certain lifestyle habits that you might have had, and yeah, just do something different and maintain that whenever you do it, especially if it's something that's good for you and beneficial for you. You maintain. Now, it's a struggle, it's grueling, sometimes it's tedious, and it's not always, sometimes you do have, when you start doing stuff that's new, when you start seeing results, when you're doing certain things new, like you'll have that feeling, like euphoric feelings. Be like, oh, this is a new thing. I feel good doing it. And I sure hope I'm not going on too many tangents, babbling too much. But I tend to do that when I do these videos, so that might be what's happening right now. I'm trying to keep it as streamlined as I can, while just talking off, I guess they call it off the cuff. I am kind of just talking off the cuff right now. I was on spiritual stuff. Now I'm just going on to the overall learning process, how to retain information, focus, stuff like that. I think I've already talked about that a little bit in some of my other videos. Because I do have a hard time focusing. I think a lot of people in this society do. A lot of people of my generation and the generations coming up, you have a hard time focusing on things. So we're always stimulated by the visuals and the music, and we're always getting it now. We're always getting it so fast. And it's dangerous, It's very dangerous to the learning process, I think. To getting all that information right now, instead of just slowing down, taking it in, meditating on it. Maybe rewatch whatever thing you watched. Maybe stop and think about it a little bit. Maybe ponder it a little bit. Maybe not just move on to the next thing right away. Maybe you'll take in little bits and pieces of it, but that's not really beneficial for learning. You really do need to dive into it, sit with it, in order to understand it. Now, this is just a learning process as a whole. You're developing that skill. I want to be able to develop that skill better. I want to be able to develop the art, or just meditating on things, which, talking to yourself is a way of meditating too. Doing what I do just about every day. And I do this every day. I talk to myself, which is why I feel like doing it in a camera is not really that big a deal. It's like talking to yourself, thinking to yourself. Don't get too lost in your mind, but, ponder and, just kind of think about things and stew on things a little bit, especially things that are necessary to stew on. Spiritual things. Spiritual things specifically, but even just if you're learning a new skill, you know what I mean? You're going to keep on doing it over and over again repetitively, practicing it. You're probably meditating on what moves you got to make to do certain things, what pieces go where, just doing certain things in order to get a result. And you have to do that over and over again in order to get better at it. And then talking off the cuff and talking to myself and talking into cameras, I've gotten better, a little bit better at that over time. I'm still not that good at it, but I'm so used to talking to myself, I've been able to do that I can just do it like that. It's not a big deal. That's just my thoughts, they just flow out. Because I'm so used to just when I'm by myself, which I have been by myself quite often in my life, or for most of my life. Well, I still have my father, I still have my family, but I'm just saying I've been by myself or had to entertain myself a lot. So, yeah, I've been able to just get better at doing that as time goes on, but I still want to structure that better so I can actually do talks, maybe in the future, meetings, stuff like that. I want to be able to do talks, structure them, do Bible readings and stuff like that. I still haven't done a Bible reading yet. You don't even have to be a publisher to do that. I got to do that too. I do want to do that. So I'm hoping I can do that at some point here pretty soon. Just go up there, read. And I'm not really a bad reader. Sometimes I get a little caught up in overthinking and stuff like that. So sometimes it's harder for me to do that, but it's not really that big a deal. Yeah, just in general doing stuff like that. Starting to kind of lose my train of thought a little bit. I know we were on the subject of learning how to attaining the knowledge or grasping it maybe, or just retention. So I was talking about spirituality there for a second. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, Daniel, maintaining integrity and loyalty, what it takes for spirituality, and then I started talking about learning. Because obviously they had to learn to get to that point too. They had to learn and maintain that. He had to learn, maintain that, pray incessantly. They had to maintain their faith, continue to walk on the path, and they're still doing it. Or, what am I saying? No. Well, technically speaking, witnesses and people of the faith are still doing that, yeah, but getting kind of caught up and stuff. They're still alive and they're still doing it. Still alive and still doing it, guys. All Daniel and them are all out there doing it. But for real, just as a whole, trying to maintain certain routines and continue to do that is something that I need to practice more. I'm still doing my fitness thing. I'm still doing the spiritual things. But I feel like I'm kind of going through the motions right now. Like I need to be a little bit more engaged in what I'm doing. So I need to stop maybe treating it like maybe certain things have worn off, like what do they call it? The honeymoony phase. I've heard that said, that there's like a honeymoony type phase where it's like all the good feelings, all the cool things that come along with starting something new when you start feeling good about doing it. Well, I need to learn how to get out of this phase and just start doing it again and getting really engaged in it, finding new ways to get myself engaged and stuff like that. And having, with moods, depression and other things like that stuff can have an effect on you. But you can't let that like bring you down and to just like, push everything out. That's something I need to do. Something I need to work on. Hoping as time goes on I can do that. Maybe you guys can be on the journey, I think, with me. I think, I guess if I'm putting it on the internet, obviously other people are going to be kind of watching that happen at some point. I don't know how many people, but some people will probably see it. Be like, oh, that's cool. I guess I have been kind of posting my spiritual journey up a little bit. I'm not really very consistent about talking about spirituality, like my own process in doing it. It's just like what I